message fault exceptions, then 00 is reserved, then SVC handler, that is nothing but service voice caller handler, then the debug monitor, then pend SVC, and systic tick handler means that is the system tick clock handler, and this is and then from onwards the configurable interrupt starts there. So you can see this. Uh, so obviously this is the interrupt vector which can be defined either in C or in the SM language. Then the stack and heap. So we have already seen what is stack and what is heap. The stack and heap can be defined in either C language or with a linker file or the assembly language. For example, in C, we can see that the stack base is given as some address is given there. So that is nothing but the stack start address. Then stack size, that is nothing but the length of the stack. Then the heap base will be that heap starts the address, and heap size, that is the heap length. So you can see that this stack start address, then length of the stack. First two initially is about the stack, and then second two will be of the heap, that is heap start address and heap length. Then we can see that externally unsigned integers are given integer image, that is ARM library stack limit, and external unsigned integer image will be given by ARM library stack heap limit. So this is how stack and heap can be defined in either C or in the assembly language. Then accessing peripherals in C. Now, when peripherals are connected, we need to access them. So it is also possible to define the sizes and the base address of the stack and heap in C language using defined derivative as illustrated. So you can see that accessing the peripherals in C is first point is define the base address for the peripherals. You remember one thing here is that the programming is not going to come in the exam. This programming is to make you understand how the things are, how the program is written in the assembly or C language. As the programs are not included in the in your syllabus, but we should know how these things are correlated with each other, how these things work out to be, and henceforth I am taking this programs syntax in these slides. So accessing the peripherals in C is defining the base address for the peripherals. That is how it can be like VGA base, then UART base, timer base, GPIO base, 7 segment base, and NVIC interrupt enable. So this is how the base address for the peripherals can be accessed. Now there are two things here is that one is writing the value to the peripheral register, and second reading the value from the peripheral register. So the unsigned integer timer base that store a value to the peripheral, that is writing, and then reading the value from the peripheral, that is I is equal to unsigned integer, then GPIO base read the value from the peripheral. So for storing the value you're using the timer base, and for reading the value you're using GPIO base. So these two things should be noted. In Cortex M3 it is also very easy to define the base address of the peripheral language, that is C language, which is already listed in the example. We are using derivative define in order to define the addresses of all the 6 peripherals connected to our system on chip. And once the address of the peripheral is defined, it can be written to and read from the C language. So first thing is like defining the address of the peripheral, and once it is defined, then we can write as well as read using C language. Cortex M3 is very much comfortable with both C language as well as assembly language. And we're using the derivative define in order to define the addresses of all the 6 peripherals that is connected to the system on chip. Now there are two things which here we have to understand is first is the calling a C function from the assembly language, and second is calling assembly from the C language. So once you understand that how C is defined in assembly, how a C function is called in the assembly, or assembly is called in the C, then it becomes easier because a system on chip programmer normally uses the mixing of both C function as well as assembly function. So if you're going to understand how C is called in assembly or assembly is called in C, it becomes easier to program, because a lot of time mixing of these languages are quite beneficial or quite easier, especially for system on chip programmers. Now, the ARM procedure call, a standard, defines a way to work with both C and assembly in the same program. So that is what I'm saying. If C and ARM both are to be used together, then it will be quite beneficial. When a C function is called from an assembly, so from an assembly, a C function is called. The following areas are important. See, when calling a C from assembly, we are studying the first concept. Calling C from assembly. Following points or following areas are very important. First one is the resistors R0, R1, R2, R3 and R12 and the link resistor could be changed. Hence, you need to save them to stack before calling a function. So these values can be changed. That's why it should be saved in the stack before calling a function. The value of the stack pointer should be aligned to a double word address boundary. So obviously the value of the stack pointer is defined by the data type by double word. Then input parameters have to be stored in the correct registers. For example, resistor R0 to R3 can be used for passing four parameters, and the return value is usually stored in R0. See, what we are understanding here is that we are calling the C function from assembly. Second, we will be calling the assembly from the C function. In the first case, when we are calling the C function from the assembly, at that time, following things have to be taken into consideration. The first is the registers from R0 to R3, then your R12 and your link register, which is R14. That could be changed. Therefore, you need to save them in the stack before calling a function. Then the value of the stack pointer should have a data type of double word, and the input parameters to be stored should be stored in the correct registers. An example, R0 to R3 can be used for passing four values. There is R0, R1, R2 and R3, and the return value is normally stored in R0. So as we are seeing this, further points that are very important is, now in order to understand, once again we'll see this, that register R0 to R3, R12 and LR can be changed, hence it should be stored. Hence, if these registers hold the data that need for the later use, you need to save them back to the stack. Then the value of the stack pointer should be assigned a double word address boundary. You need to ensure that the input parameters are stored in the correct registers, that is from R0 to R3, and the return value which is stored in R0, assuming that it is a 32 bits or smaller, is normally stored in R0. So these are the things that has to be taken care when C function is called from the assembly. Now, calling a C function from the assembly, we'll continue few more examples here. The ISR. So the ISR can be written in either assembly or in the C. Example, void URT ISR, that character C. C is equal to character, that is URT base. So read the character from the ART. So this read the character from UART. So by using UART, we are going to write the ISR in either assembly or C.
Hello, sir.
Huh?
Sir,
Hello?
your voice is very low.
Voice is very low. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment. Now, is it clear? Okay.
No, sir.
Shubham, clear hai abhi? Okay. I'll little bit speak
No,
louder.
sir.
I'll speak little louder. ISR can be written either in assembly or C language. For example, in C, we can write the ISR in such a way that void UART ISR. Then, if character C is defined, and if I want to have this C to read the character from the URT, C will be equal to character, that is AHB URT base. So, in this way, you can read the character from URT. Now, call a C function from assembly code. Further will be, and one more example is URT handler. So if we see that the PROC export UART handler, we are going to export this UART, that is label name in assembly. Then import UART ISR, that is a function name in C. Then the push is going to be used, that is R0, R1, R2, and LR, that is context for saving. Push is used for context saving, right? Then your BL UART ISR, that is branch to ISR written in C. And then pop. So pushes and pop both are used here. So one is for context saving and pop is used for context restoring, that is R0, R1, R2. So for context restoring, we are going to use the program counter. For context saving, we are going to use the link register. So in this way, we can use the UART handler also. Now here is an example how to call a C function from assembly code. So if you see the example, we have an ISR written in C which can be read as a character from UART. And this ISR is called as UART ISR. So you can see here example is UART ISR. In order to call this function from the assembly code, we simply use the import key words with enemy of the function to be called, that is UART ISR. So in order to call this function from assembly code, ठीक है, तो assembly से C को बुला रहे, we simply can use the import keyword, मतलब import कर सकते हैं हम directly. So import, if we are using here, you can see that export and import, there are two there. So if we are saying that import UART ISR, that means you're calling that function in C. You're calling that function from assembly in C. So in order to call this function from assembly code, we simply use import keyword with enemy of the function to be called. With Cortex M ISR is only ever used as interrupt handler. The C function can called directly and hardware stacking will manage the context save and restore process. So if you see the initial first two is that we can write the ISR. ISR can be written in C and it can also read a character from UART with the help of UART ISR. This is the first point. Second is in order to call this function from assembly, we can simply use the command called as import keyword. And the third one is that with Cortex MSR, it is only ever used as an interrupt handler. The C function can call directly, and hardware stacking will manage the context saving and restore process. So in Cortex of M, with Cortex of M, ISR is only ever used as an interrupt handler. The C function can call directly the hardware stacking, which will manage the context save and restore. So if we see that in Cortex M, you can see here is BLUAT ISR, that is branch to ISR written in C. This is the command line what it says about this one. Then we'll move to this point number two. That is first was calling the C function from assembly. Now we are calling an assembly function from the C. So when calling an assembly function from C code, for following areas are important. The first one is that if register R4 to R11 need to be changed, they have to stacked and restored in the assembly function. So similarly जहाँ वहाँ पर भी वही था कि R0 to R4 तक, R0 to R4 तक जो वैल्यू चेंज होने वाले हैं R14 LR, उसके वैल्यू चेंज होने वाले हैं, तो उसको पहले स्टैक में रिस्टोर करके रखना जरूरी है. So similarly when we are calling an assembly function from C, at that time also we need to store this register value R4 to R11, that is to be stacked and restored in the assembly function. If another function is called inside the assembly function, so function ke andar function, at that time the link register needs to be saved on the stack and used for the return. The function return value is normally stored in R0. Now, this is the example of calling an assembly function from C. So you can see that calling an assembly function from the C, write a function is an assembly. You can see that there is an add ASM. So export the add ASM. So we are exporting the file called as add ASM, and we are function using the function as adds R0, then R0 comma R1, then adds R0 comma R0 comma R2, then adds R0 comma R0 comma R3. So we are been using the add values. We are using the add of the three values from the register, that is R1, R2, R3, and then BXLR means result is returned in R0. So whatever that R0, R1 calculated, that is stored in R0, R2, R0 calculated, that is again stored in R0, then R3, R0 is calculated, which is stored in the R0, and ultimately VXLR means the result is written in the R0, and then we have the end function. So this is what the add ASM is. Now, another example of calling an assembly function in C is, for example, the external integer add ASM. Now, in this integer k1, k2, k3, and k4, directly we are going to add these four integers. So, integer x is equal to add ASM. So, 11, 22, 33, and 44. So, all these things k1, k2, k3, k4 will add together. So, there are two ways of writing the add function and calling the assembly function from the C. So we are calling. In the first case, what we are doing is that we are directly exporting the add assembly add file, and in the second case we are having the external integer add ASM directly as a function, where you can write down the call as an assembly function. So you can call, see, first you export it, that is one way. You export the add file and then you work on it, and the second one is that you directly use the add add file, and then you can easily calculate the add function. So this is the values of the add function. Again, calling an assembly function from C. For example, if we have an assembly function that adds four values as illustrated in the previous example, that is add ASM, we need to declare it in C code before we can use it. Obviously, in C, if you are going to add like R1, R2, R3, and R4, we need to declare them as an integer values. So initially, declaration is very important. In this example shown, here we can also declare that add ASM at the start of the C code, and we can use as the main function. So we can take another example that, now see, in both the examples we have used two different methods. Now if we can combine them together, we can also use them. Like the embedded assembler allows the developer to write assembly function inside and C. So C के अंदर assembly function को लिखने के लिए सी के अंदर असेंबली फंक्शन को आप लिख रहे हो, inside C you are writing the embedded assembler. So how it is going to be like, C ASM integer add ASM, so integer k1, k2, k3, k4, then adds r0, r0, r1, add r02, r2, adds r0, r3, and then we restore the value in R0. And the second is void main. So in we are writing the assembly function in C, inside the C. So now void main integer x, where x is equal to add ASM 11, 22, 33, 44, that is calling the assembly function inside the C. So ये ऊपर वाला जो है वो हम C के अंदर लिख रहे हैं, राइट, और बाद में उसको हम assembly function को C से बुला रहे हैं, call assembly function. Some more points is that when we develop the software applications, there may be cases when there is need to embed the assembly code in the same program file as the C code. So obviously there are a number of occasions when we need to embed the assembly code into the C code. This feature is available in ARM Cortex M3 programmers using embedded assembler. So अगर embedded assembler आप use कर रहे हो, तो you can embed the assembly code inside the C code. This is very simple logic that ARM Cortex M3 supports both of them using inside each other. The latter allows the developer to write the assembly function inside C. So inside the C also you can write down the assembly function. For example, we can say that my add e function that adds four parameters could be written as shown below. We have seen that. So you can see that my add e is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can add these four integers together. The functions can be called in C code in a similar manner to any other normal C function as follows. So y is equal to my add e 1, 2, 3, 4. You can add the four values. Now this phase is interfacing IO devices like LEDs and switches. So we can take an example of interfacing how this. We'll take an example of LED. It's very simple, through which we can understand it. See, there is a program to demonstrate the LED blinking. Then port 2 pin are configured as GPIO and using pin cell register as they configured as output using DFIO directory register. LEDs are turned on by sending high pulse using FIO SCT register, and after some time the LEDs can be turned off by sending low pulse. तो अगर एलईडी को ऑन करना है तो आपको हाई पल्स भेजने पड़ेंगे FIO ACT रजिस्टर को, और अगर उसको टर्न ऑफ करना है तो आपको लो पल्स भेजना है FIO CLR रजिस्टर को. So initially we can define this unsigned integers ij, and we take a loop up to 20,000. So 20,000 times it will be on and off. We start a program. First is system init, that is clock and PLL configuration. Then configure port 2 pin as an GPIO. Then configure port 2 pin as an output. Then you can see that you're using GPIO2. You're making the port pin as high by sending the high pulse. Then there is a delay of 100 milliseconds. Then you're sending the port pins as low. सो इसका मतलब क्या है कि पहले एफ आई ओ एस ए टी को के लिए यूज करना है जीपीआईओ, पहले जीपीआईओ हमने डिक्लेयर किया, बाद में हमने हाई पिन भेजे पोर्ट पिन्स को, और वो एफ आई ओ एस ए टी के थ्रू किया, बाद में उसको लो पिन्स भेजने के लिए एफ आई ओ सी एल आर का यूज किया, और ऑन और ऑफ के बीच में दोनों टाइम पे हमने दोनों टाइम पे हमने उसको फिर एक बार मैं बताता हूँ. स्टार्ट में हमने क्या किया, वॉइड डिले असाइंड किया, अनसाइंड इंटीजर आई जे असाइंड किया, देन फॉर आई टू जे, सो for 20,000 time it will blink on and off and on and off. Then in the first case we are declaring the clock and PLL, that is system init. Then the first is configuring the port 2 pin as GPIO, then configuring the port 2 pin as an output. Okay, these two things are there. Then there is a while loop. So जब तक एग्जीक्यूट होता रहेगा, पहले क्या होगा कि हम सारे पल्सेस हाई देंगे पोर्ट पिन को ताकि वो एलईडी ऑन हो जाए. सो वो किसके थ्रू दे सकते हैं, वो इसके थ्रू दे सकते हैं LPC GPIO2 FIO ACT रजिस्टर के थ्रू. यानी कि वो हाई पल्स देंगे, मतलब क्या होगा, एफ दे दिया, यानी कि हाई वैल्यू दे दी. तो ये जैसी हाई वैल्यू दे देगा तो आपका एलईडी ऑन हो जाएगा. फिर बाद में ऑन होने के बाद उसको हम डिले दे रहे कुछ सेकंड्स का, कुछ डिले दे रहे हंड्रेड्स का, और उसके बाद में हमने वापस एफ आई ओ सी एल आर के थ्रू उस पोर्ट को लो पिंस भेजे, यानी कि 0 into 0 0 0 0 0, एंड देन देर इज अगेन अ डिले ऑफ 100 मिली सेकेंड. सो कैसे होगा, पहले ऑन होगा, फिर डिले होगा, फिर ऑन होगा, फिर डिले होगा, फिर डिले होगा, फिर ऑफ होगा, फिर डिले, फिर ऑन ऑफ डिले ऑन ऑफ, इन दिस वे, on delay of delay on delay of delay. In this way it can interface can be done so that LEDs can be on and off. Like switches can be also with an example same. If you want to make it on, you have to send it high pulse. So switch can be operated as on, and if you want to close it, switch can be operated as off. So by using the FIO ACT register, you're turning on the LED, and by using FIO CLR, you're turning the LED off. Now, with the same example, we can also do it by the other way. There is a second approach. Now, how the second approach is that the FIOPN register is used for both setting and clearing the port pins. That is, writing logic 1 to set the port pin and writing 0 to clear the port pin. So, again, the first loop will be same. In the second loop, you can see that instead of using दी GPIO, यहाँ पर देखो क्या किया यूज किया था, यहाँ पर GPIO2 यूज किया था, है ना. सो फर्स्ट वाले केस में हमने कॉन्फ़िगर किया GPIO को. अगेन इन द सेकंड पोर्ट टू हमने फिर से एक बार उसको कॉन्फ़िगर किया. बाद में आगे देखो इसके आगे क्या लिखा है, सॉरी, हाँ, दी FIO ACT. अब FIO ACT की जगह पर आ गया FIO पिन, दैट इज मेकिंग ऑल द पोर्ट पिंस हाई. बराबर. अब सेकंड केस में एफ आई ओ सी एल आर है, तो एफ आई ओ सी एल आर की जगह एफ आई ओ पिन यूज हुआ है. तो वहां पर हमने दो चीजें यूज की। एक था FIO ACT और दूसरा था FIO CLR। तो FIO ACT के थ्रू हमने पोर्ट पिंस को हाई किया ताकि एलईडी ऑन हो जाए, और FIO CLR के का इस्तेमाल करके हमने पोर्ट पिंस को लो किया। बट इन द सेकेंड केस वी आर यूजिंग FIO pin for making it high, and again we are using FIO pin for making it low also. So same पिन का इस्तेमाल कर कर सेम पिन को हम हाई एज वेल एज लो कर सकते हैं। दैट इज द मोस्ट important thing. Now these are some of the embedded libraries. So you can see that using explore the embedded libraries. In the above tutorial, we just discussed how to configure ports for GPIO for blinking the LEDs. Once you know that GPIO configurations, you can directly use the explore embedded libraries to play around with LEDs. एक बार हमने उसको GPIO का इस्तेमाल करना सीख लिया, उसके बाद आप एलईडी के साथ खेल सकते हो। जब चाहे तब ऑन करना, जब जिस जिस तरीके से ऑन ऑफ करना उस तरह से आप कर सकते हो। तो वो एम्बेडेड लाइब्रेरीज का इस्तेमाल करके आप डायरेक्टली कर सकते हो। तो ये फॉलोइंग जो कोड है वो कोड इसलिए लिखा है क्योंकि ये एम्बेडेड लाइब्रेरीज का इस्तेमाल कर कर आप डायरेक्टली उसके साथ खेल सकते हो, यानी कि एलईडीज को ऑन ऑफ वगैरह इजीली कर सकते हैं। तो यू कैन सी दैट देर इज एन डिफाइंड लाइब्रेरी। उसमें लाइब्रेरी डिफाइन नहीं किया था हमने, इसमें हमने लाइब्रेरी डिफाइन किया है। सो इसका मतलब यह है कि इंक्लूड द डिले डॉट एच, देन इंक्लूड GPIO डॉट एच, then define the LED port 2 2.0, and then we started an example. So in this case what happened, in these two cases we haven't used the libraries, but in this case we are going to use libraries. And once you use the libraries, then GPIO functions can be defined as configure pin for GPIO and then configure a pin as an output. So देखो यहाँ पर GPIO को डिफाइन किया गया और उसके बाद में फिर आपके कॉन्फ़िगर द पिन एज एन आउटपुट। नाउ इन वाइल केस में यहाँ पे GPIO को पिन राइट किया, मतलब सारे पोर्ट्स हाई हो गए, बाद में डिले दिया, बाद में GPIO पिन राइट किया, ऑल द पिन्स को लो दिया और फिर डिले किया। तो डायरेक्टली हमने कैसे यूज किया है, डायरेक्टली हम उस फंक्शंस को यूज कर रहे हैं क्योंकि वो फंक्शंस ऊपर डिफाइंड किया है लाइब्रेरी में। सो दिस इज एन एग्जांपल of using the embedded libraries to write down directly the syntaxes. Then this is also the example of embedded libraries. I'll revise all these things. See, in this way you're going to test to the test console and URT. So test में का पहला T को मूव किया, बाद में E को मूव किया, देख रहे होंगे आप, मूव S, बाद में S को मूव किया और बाद में T को मूव किया और उसके बाद में कॉन्फ़िगर किया टाइमिंग को। तो कॉन्फ़िगर करते समय देखो पहले क्या किया है कि टेस्ट को लिखते समय R1 एंड R2 यानी कि VGA बेस और URT बेस को डिक्लेयर किया, बाद में T को मूव किया और स्ट्रिंग यूज किया R0 R1 R0 R2, फिर बाद में R1 R2 VGA बेस URT बेस, बाद में ये T का हो गया। अभी अभी आएगा E को सेम, उसकी उसी तरह से S को सेम, फिर बाद में वापस T को सेम, और उसके बाद कॉन्फ़िगर किया टाइमर को, दैट इज R1 टाइमर लोड वैल्यू रजिस्टर, R0 इक्वल टू उसकी मैक्सिमम वैल्यू लोड की डाल दी, और उसमें हमने टाइमर कंट्रोल रजिस्टर R1 इक्वल टू वो वैल्यू डाल दी, और उसके बाद में मूव किया सेट प्री स्केलर रीलोड मोड एंड स्टार्ट टाइमर को। So it's in this way what we are going to do is that using the embedded libraries we are also going to write the program for storing this, moving this TEST values and test the console with the help of URT. So in this way we have seen it. So we'll again revise it as. So in this way, we have seen that the first program is the interrupt vector, which can be defined either in C or assembly language. For example, in C, we can write down it as exception function pointer, that is exception table. So first we are going to initialize the stack pointer, then we are going to initialize the program counter, then we are going to write NMI exception, hard fault exception, memory manage exception, bus fault exception, usage fault exception. Then we are going to have the reserved value, then SVC handler, that is a service call handler, debug monitor. Then again we are going to have some reserved value, then pend SVC, that is a service call, and system tick handler यानी कि system time clock. And in this way you can write the interrupt vector that can be defined in C or assembly language. In the second case, we have defined stack and heap. That is in either C or in the assembly language. So you can see that there is a set stack and heap parameter. So first is that we are declaring the stack start address. Then we are also declaring the length of the stack. Then heap start address and heap length. In this way, we are defining the address for the peripherals. It is also possible to define the sizes and base address of the stack and heap in case of C language using defined derivative as directive as illustrated. So in this way, we can define that VGA base, URT base, timer base, GPIO base, 7 segment base, and NVIC interrupt enable. Now, in order to write the value to the peripheral register, we can write it in this way: timer base 0 into 3 FFF. And when we are reading this, we are going to write GPIO base. So for writing, we are going to use timer base. For reading the value from peripheral register, we are going to use GPIO base. In Cortex M3, it is very easy to define the base address of the peripheral C language, and we are using the derivative define in order to define the addresses of all the 6 peripherals connected to system on chip. Once the address of the peripheral is defined, it can be written to read the C. So C function को call करना है from assembly. There are some rules which has to be followed. First one is that R0 to R3, R12 and link register can be changed. Hence, we need to save them into stack before calling the function. Second, the value of the stack pointer should have a double address boundary. Then input parameter that can be stored in the correct registers, that is for example R0 to R3, can be used for passing 4 parameters. Then the return value is usually stored in R0. Then the ISR can be written in either assembly or C language. That is void URT ISR. Character C is defined as character. Then C is equal to character UART base, that is reading a character from the UART. Then call a C function from assembly code. Example is exporting UART handler, that is label name in assembly. Import UART ISR, function name in C. Push, we are going for context saving. Then uh, branch to ISR written in C is used BLUART ISR. Then pop is used with the program counter. Push is used with the link register. And when pop is used for with the program counter, we can use for context restoring. So we have seen that IRs are written in the C and can read a character from UART. This ISR is called as UART ISR. And in assembly language, from if you are going to call the function from assembly code, we can simply use the import keyword. So because of that thing, you can import the file. With Cortex M, ISR is only ever used as an interrupt handler. The C function can called directly in hardware stacking will manage the context save and restore the process. When calling an assembly function from C, following areas have to be taken into consideration. So R4 to R11 need to be changed. They have to be stacked and restored in the assembly function. If another function is called inside an assembly function, LR register need to be stay on the stack, and that is useful for return. The function return value is normally stored in R0. So we can take an example of add. So we can write down in two ways. The first is export the add ASM. We have a function add s r0 r01, then add r02, then add 3, add r0 r3, and then the result is returned in r0. Similarly, when we call another example of adding, so add asm integer k1 k2 k3 k4. So we are going to call that function as add asm, call assembly function, so that will add 11 to 33 and 44. Then another example, if we have an assembly function that add force value, we can now declare it in the C code before we using it. So now if in this example we can say that we can declare the add ASM at the start of C code, and we can use in the main section. So this example shows like that. So the earlier two examples are combined together, and how they can be written, you can see this. That is r ASM integer add ASM k1 k2 k3 k4, then add r0 r1 r2 r0 r2, add r0 r3, and then void main integer x is equal to add asm 11 12 33 and 44. So that is calling the assembly function. When developing software applications, there are many cases when there is need to embed the assembly code in the same program file as the C code. This feature is available for ARM Cortex M3. The later will be like this. It's a simple thing that both C and assembly can be used together. For example, we can use an add e function that add four parameter which can be written as shown in below. So this is the interfacing of LED. So we have seen that how this interfacing can be done. So by sending high pulses with the help of FIOS ST and sending low pulses using FIO CLR. And this is the second example where the high pulses as well as low pulses can be sent by using FIO pin. Now this is the example of the library. By declaring the library, you can send the port to high and you can send the low pulses to port. And this is also one of the example of the embedded libraries, how you can write down each and every character in the program. So yes, have you understood it? Hello. Hello.